Welcome back to Sunday Agenda. I'm Lydia Serrani. Well, here at Newsmax, we've compiled our very own list of the top 9 media lies and cover-ups in 2023. Let's go through some of them with the help of our panel. Joining me now is radio host of Wake Up Memphis, Ben Dieter. Also with us, associate editor for Newsbusters at the Media Research Center, Nicholas Fondacaro. And back with us, our in-studio special guest, the host of Money Talk with Melanie, Collette. Thank you all so much for joining us. Melanie, let's start off with you first. The evidence of corruption against Joe Biden, it's been overwhelming. Yet here's how the left is portraying it.
There is no evidence of any wrongdoing.
No evidence of wrongdoing. Any wrongdoing.
No evidence of wrongdoing.
No evidence of wrongdoing.
No evidence of wrongdoing. What say you, Melanie?
So this is what I have nicknamed a Jedi mind trick. And what it's when you tell people that things are the opposite or not as they see it or have heard it. That's what this is. They're trying to play the Jedi mind trick on the entire country by saying we are not seeing what we're seeing. The evidence that we see does not exist. It's buffoonery, and they really do think it's going to work.
They really do. And Ben, there was this lie from PBS who just asserted that Hunter Biden's indictment doesn't implicate his father from all of his son's shady business dealings. Take a listen.
The important context that Hunter Biden is a private citizen. He is not seeking, nor has he ever held public office. He does not work in the White House for his father in the way that Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump did. And the indictment does not in any way implicate President Joe Biden.
Ben, take it away.
Well, we couldn't tie the two together, could we? Because this is all about mental health, right? Joe Biden's son has addiction problems. So if you even criticize a potential link between the big guy, who we know as the 46th president of the United States, or his son, well, you are just cruel and you hate addiction addicts. It's madness. But again, this is the mainstream media.
That's what they do. And Nicholas, another one of the big lies was the media reviving the insurrection lie after Jack Smith's indictment of President Trump. Let's take a look at this description from MSNBC.
This just doesn't end in the DOJ having to prove that Trump was trying to stage an insurrection or, incite a revolution. It just puts that day, that moment in the arsenal of other weapons he uses for several months to overthrow the results of an election.
So now she's saying that he was trying to overthrow the results of an election. So it looks like the narrative, the wording is changing now because they realize that there was no insurrection. What do you think?
I think it's just another example of the word games the liberal media plays. Like, we have them now calling this an insurrection and all this, like he's overthrowing the government. But meanwhile, when we had the BLM protests, it was mostly peaceful protests, nothing to see here. All this violence that we're seeing, it's just being played up by news agencies on the right, even though everybody is seeing it plain as day, flames, death, destruction everywhere. It's the word games.
It is the word games, and it's so interesting how the exact same phrasing that comes out of the White House is what we'll hear from, like, the left-wing pundits. Like, Ben, I was just looking at a clip the other day where you had Joe Biden saying that the media is not reporting the economy right. And then the very next day, we're seeing all these positive reports about the economy. What do you think?
Well, I think he needs to get out of the basement and go talk to real people, Lydia, because if you look at the polling right now, the economy is #1, and it's any wonder that the president's poll numbers are slipping. You can put lipstick on this pig, but at the end of the day, Bidenomics, whatever the heck that means, it's not working for Americans.
It is not. And then, Nicholas, another lie was Politico, who did their best to clean up the sex tape scandal on Capitol Hill when it emerged that a Senate staffer had been caught filming a graphic gay sex tape in a Senate hearing room. Politico's only description of that video was that it shows 2 men having sex. I remember seeing an NBC News headline, too, talking about, it said something like the conservatives allege this or that. It's such a joke.
The news story isn't the outrageous thing. The outrageous thing is the Republican conservative response to it. And that's the Republicans pounce, Republicans react. It's the Republican, to the liberal media, it's the Republican reaction that's the controversial thing, not that there was Senate aides having sex in a Senate hearing room. And this is what we're getting. It's the Republican response is the problem, not the actual act.
And then finally, Melanie, real quick to you, the biggest lie that we heard was the fact that they tried to say that it was Israel that bombed the hospital. And it turns out that it was actually Hamas terrorists. And they tried to backtrack it. But once you put, you know, what did they say? You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube?
You can't. And what's really angering about that is that they did not do the correction quite as loudly as they did their outrage when they were spreading their false information. But that's what the liberal media does.
That's what they do. But we are here at Newsmax to hold them accountable. Ben Dieter, Nicholas Fontecaro, Melanie, Collette, thank you all so much and hope you all have a happy new year.
Thank you.